Hey, Ty, are you with us?
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Hi, welcome to the show. Thanks for calling in. Sorry about the mix-up with the number.
That's no problem.
Well, how are you doing today, sir?
Oh, I can't complain. No, nobody listens anyway.
All right. So, we talked a little bit last night about what we'd like to talk about with you today. So, if you wouldn't mind giving our listeners and the listeners of FBGlive, giving them a little bit of who Ty is and what it is Ty does as far as your, well, you can tell us what you do for a professional living, but I wanted to talk more about, of course, your farming and your ranching abilities.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm from Oklahoma. Originally, I was born in Austin, and I was raised in Oklahoma and just moved back down here to the hill country in November and live out here on 290 East, and got a little handful of sheep. Got about 40 sheep on 4 acres. Just maximizing on what I got. I got about 40 on 4 acres. A lot of people say that's pretty crazy, but they're doing pretty well just on grass, and just rotate them around on 4 acres and do really good. Got Dorper pair sheep, and I was raised around cattle quite a bit.
Okay, so this isn't something you just woke up and decided you were going to try to be a farmer or a rancher one day. This is something you have a little bit of life experience with.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and now you say you have 40 head of sheep on 4 acres. Now, I imagine you get kind of like, you get those looks like, are you crazy, or is it, because I imagine that's not the conventional way you would use sheep, right?
No, sir.
And
usually most people around here about a sheep to 3 acres, so that'd be like 1 sheep, but it's got a little bit of irrigation on it.
Yeah.
So and the grass, it's taller than the sheep are out there. They can't even keep up with it.
So, of course, the big question on probably that you face a lot too is, do you make a profit at that? There's no way it could be financially profitable for you to do it in this manner, is there?
Oh, yeah, indeed. They'll lamb 3 times every 2 years, so you get a crop and a half, and then they'll have at least 150% crop. So a man can make about $200 a head off those 40, and that's a pretty good little income to help out, because I'm a working man. I'm a diesel mechanic by trade, and just trying to get the ball rolling on this to where I can make a living from that. And that's just starting. I got capacity for a few more on this 4 acres, and it's really taking wings. I started on it in March. I built the fence around it and got stock in the first part of May, and it's June 1st, so a little over a month, and I've got it into 4 acres, and I got it into 4 pastures, 1 acre. I leave them in each pasture for a week, and it gets 30 days of rest. Each little pasture gets 30 days of rest, and it takes care of the land too. I use the land. It's not used for anything in return for maintaining the land, taking care of it, and it works out pretty good for everybody. That's cool.
I like that. I mean, like I said, we talked a little bit, and to me, I believe in counter-economics or agorism. And what you kind of talked about, how you got these 4 acres to use in exchange for you maintaining the property and keeping it up. That would be a form of counter-economics. It would be a form of agorism, which is really cool, because the only way we break free of a lot of control is to seek other means. But something else I'm curious about is, because I imagine you take your livestock to the auction barn here in Fredericksburg or anywhere else, and so I'm wondering, is there like state or federal regulations that you have to go through? Like, do they have to have shot records and all this other stuff? And then how do you feel about that?
They have scrapie tags. Anytime any sheep or goat goes to auction, they'll get a tag in its ear with a ID number for scrapies. That way, if there is an outbreak anywhere, they'll know exactly where it came from. They can tell you what county it came from, and the barn can look up to see what owner that came from. So it's good in a way, and you pay for it. It costs $2 a head, and say if they have 5,000 head a week, that's close to $10,000. Right.
Now, your sheep are entirely grass fed, or do you use feed every now and then?
They're entirely.
Go ahead.
They're entirely grass fed. I don't baby them too much. They get out there and hustle, and they stay really healthy that way.
Okay. So I guess too, and then is the fact that is you grass feed them, is that more of a financial decision, or do you think that as someone who has experience bringing up livestock and stuff, or is that something that you've kind of grown to favor, free range feeding versus feeding them out of a trough with like I said, like either hay or some kind of processed feed?
Yeah, I think I do it mostly for economics, because the price of feed has really went up with the price of corn and everything, and I feed just enough. I keep one bag of feed around just enough to keep them gentle, and they do really good. And a lot of places where I'm at got a little bit of irrigation, so that really helps with the grass production. And so the grass doesn't really cost anything.
Right. Yeah.
So and then
go ahead.
And I think they do a lot better on that. That's what they were designed to live off of.
All right. Now you of course you said you moved back to the hill country, and so how long have you been operating in the whole I guess livestock trade of here in the hill country?
Well, my granddad, he's lived here since 1941. He's 87. He was born in 1925, and he was born several miles from where he lives, right outside Fredericksburg. And I've learned a lot from him about this area, farming and ranching, and everybody does it a little different, and but there's a lot of big operations, and I try and keep my overhead low. I don't own a tractor or anything. I just use my livestock to manage the land, and that keeps the overhead low. So it's pretty hard to make money buying $20,000 tractors and whatnot unless they're a big operation.
Okay. Now, you had said earlier that right now you're a diesel mechanic by trade, and that's just to help have a ground on the financial base to get your ranching off the ground. What is your ultimate goal with what you want to do with these sheep? I mean, do you plan to one day own a big old lot in somewhere here in the hill country and just do that solely as your source of living? Or is this something that's just always going to be a little thing you do on the side?
I plan to expand with this to do for a living later on down the road, maybe in a few years. But it's really taking wings here lately. These Dorper sheep, they're in really high demand right now. So I'm planning on expanding quite a bit. We got 40. I plan this year be to over 100, and that'll where it definitely supports itself and expanding quick. But they're really high demand right now for the minority markets, Islam, and that's where most of them go. They want a 60-pound lamb, and they butcher it right then. It doesn't get fed out in a feedlot. They just butcher it right then.
So, oh man, I lost track of the question I was going to ask you. Okay, now besides the stockyard, our auction barns and things like that to sell your stock, what other means have you pursued, or other things like, do you put an ad in the paper? Do you make flyers? Do you have a website or business cards that people can get in contact with you if they wanted? What are they called? Dober sheep?
Dorper. It's Dorper.
Okay, and well, like I said, what other means? What kind of avenues have you sought to expand your customer base, if you will? Or is this purely just word of mouth? You talk to people that you work with or see at the grocery store and things like that. I mean, how do you move your sheep?
I've had really good luck with just word of mouth. They're in high demand in this area, and I've also done a little bit of internet marketing through Craigslist, and I had really good luck with that and deliver them. I've delivered some to Taylor, Texas, around Austin and whatnot. Everything I got, it's already sold right now. But I've had really good luck with word of mouth and just having good stock. People can trust that everything I got, it's guaranteed to be healthy. And it's backgrounded. I've backgrounded everything for at least 30 days. And these I have right now, I've backgrounded them for 60 days. And the backgrounding, it's process. I just make sure everything's healthy and knows what to do. They'll get out there and hustle. Everything's healthy, and it just everything comes out. Everything I get, it comes straight out of the country and here. And I background it for 30 to 60 days, and it'll be ready to go.
Nice. Well, it seems like you have a really good grasp on what you're doing and how you're doing it. And something I find very difficult that anytime you venture in and you're doing something that you enjoy doing is not to become arrogant, and you try to keep a humble attitude about it, realizing that you were given talents, and given a passion and understanding for something. And so you have to keep that in mind, that you're not the greatest person ever. The whole concept of there's always going to be somebody smarter or somebody bigger and badder. Do you face that in what you do sometimes? I guess, like I said, trying to keep yourself humble and not being all like, well, man, I'm doing 40 head on an unconventional style, and I'm actually, like you said, expanding and growing. I have a good reputation. Do you ever struggle with that? I get our own humanistic ego?
Oh, definitely. My goal is to remain genuine and keep a good reputation for everything. Because most people I tell about I got that many on 4 acres, it's already unbelievable to them. But sit down and explain it to them that stuff like that can be done, and that to get more people in the business, I'm not afraid to have competition. I hope everybody can get out there and do as well as I'm doing with it. I've had great luck with it. Been blessed indeed to have the knowledge to do this kind of stuff. I just maintain my reputation, have good stock, and uphold my reputation. But there's a lot of people out there that say can't be done. That you got to have 500 acres to rent. But the price of land around here in country goes for about 5,000 acres. That's a pretty big investment. I definitely couldn't afford it, but maybe down the road, but personally, I don't see a reason to get that big if I can, on small scale, it's real manageable.
Right. Keeps that overhead down and all that good stuff, too. I mean, where it makes it, I guess it would make it it probably makes the livestock better, too, because they're actually able to have, given the amount of attention and care that's required. Because I know, just like with any living thing, the more of something, a little harder and more chaotic it is to control. Like I used to rescue pit bulls, and, it was a fine when I had 1 or 2, but then at one point I had 15, and that was ludicrous because I felt like, sometimes after a long day at work, trying to walk 15 dogs make sure everybody got enough playtime and all that stuff, it can get a little chaotic. So, yeah, I imagine keeping things small is the way to go. Now, we talked, like I said a couple of times, we talked a little bit last night, and now I don't remember, I want to say that you are not ag exempt, or were you ag exempt, and then how do you feel about the whole being ag exempt or versus being non-ag exempt kind of, path? Because, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not ag exempt yet. All a person has to do is file online if they got 3 or more animals, that whether it be sheep, goats, cattle, if they got 3 or more, they can be ag exempt. I haven't had time to do that yet. I stay pretty hooked up with my job and do this. I'm not ag exempt yet, but it's a good deal if you go buy supplies for fence or feed, anything that you use for the farm or ranch is be tax exempt. So that's good for people if a person makes a big purchase of, say, $1,000, and the tax would be $80 that they'd save.
Okay. I think that's everything I got, Ty. At the moment I can't think of any more questions.
All right. Well, I sure appreciate you having me on.
Okay. Well, I guess I do kind of have one more. Like I said, I know you're from Oklahoma, and so if there's, like I said, this is broadcast throughout the world. So if there's anyone back home you want to send some love to and say hi to, all that stuff, feel free. If you wanna go ahead and give out your number or anything so that you can if anyone's interested in some of your stock or anything like that, or any kind of email address or whatever, a way they can contact you, feel free to use this time right now before we say bye.
All right. Yeah, I've got family, and I'm from right outside Durant, Oklahoma, southeast Oklahoma. I got friends and family up there. They all know who they are, and I need to set up a website. Maybe we'll talk again, and I'll have a website by then. That's kind of my goal. There's a lot of internet marketing, and it's worked out really good for me. So maybe next time I'll have a website set up, and working on that right now. That's about it, I guess.
All right, Ty. Well, as always, I appreciate you coming on. Thanks for spending some time with us, and hopefully this isn't the last time. Hopefully we'll be talking a lot more, and as you grow and we grow, and as a community, we grow together. And so, yeah, like I said, it was a pleasure talking to you today, and have a good rest of the afternoon, man.
All right, you too.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and like I said, that was Ty here in Fredericksburg, Texas, doing a little bit of unconventional ranching.
Well, it's Friday, getting tore